What's up, Meta Nerds? This video is all about the Defoliator. This was a highly specialized weapon, which was a perfect addition to the droid army because it would take out organic matter while leaving all the droid units unscathed. It was created by the Neimoidian Lock Durd, though he makes sure to give credit to Count Dooku also. And I think it's extremely interesting to point out that some of the technology used was given to the CIS by the Chiss Expansionary Defense Force. This of course is the race that Thrawn comes from, and although they weren't heavily involved in the Clone Wars, they were definitely keeping their eye on it, and it's actually now part of canon that Thrawn once fought alongside Anakin. Now the Defoliator is technically just this cannon. It would fire a large incendiary shell, which worked a lot like napalm. The flames would be intense enough to take out any foliage or any organic troops in its way, but it wasn't hot enough to melt the droids. To get this big weapon on the battlefield, they had to create a specialized vehicle, which was named the Defoliator Deployment Tank. You can see that its design is heavily based on the AAT, but the repulsor lift wings on the bottom are much wider and extend a lot further back, presumably to add more lift and act as a counterbalance to the heavy gun that rests on the back of this thing. At 12.53 meters or 41 feet, the Defoliator Deployment Tank was nearly the exact same size as the Super Tank, and about 10 feet longer than the AAT. The crew of the deployment tank included one pilot, one gunner, but two loaders. It took two droids to pick up and load the shell that was fired by the Defoliator, and it had to be reloaded after every shot. The Defoliator Deployment Tank had all the same weapons as the regular AAT, except the Defoliator cannon replaces the AAT's main cannon. But despite this weapon's effectiveness, it really doesn't have that much of a history, and there's only 2 times that we know of it being used during the Clone Wars. We got to see the very first time this weapon was ever tested on the planet Meridon. Lock Durd was extremely excited about it, and thought that the peaceful Lurman colonists would make excellent test subjects. And the only other time that we see it used is on Dathomir, when Dooku and Grievous are trying to take out the Night Sisters. But in both of these appearances, we see that the Defoliator Deployment Tank is easily taken out. First by Anakin Skywalker, who simply runs his lightsaber across the top and chops off the back of the Defoliator, but it also is blown to pieces by what seems to be just one shot from an AAT. And it's unclear whether or not the CIS command discontinued this weapon's use because of the weaknesses of the deployment tank, or because it was too expensive, or maybe it had some other logistical problems that we're just not aware of. What we do know is that over 50 years later, the Chiss Ascendancy used a similar weapon during the Swarm Wars, though this Defoliator specifically took out the enemy's food sources. Well, that's it for the Defoliator. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that like button, and be sure to leave a comment down below if I missed any cool facts, or if you have a suggestion for future videos. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at MetaNerdsLore, so you can see us build Star Wars props and cosplays, along with some other cool Star Wars stuff. If you want to help support this channel, check out the description below for our Amazon store and our Patreon. And be sure to subscribe, because we're making videos like this every single day. But more important than all that, remember, never underestimate a Lurman colonist, and the Force will be with you, always.